Hi there. It's the 11th of March 2024, and I'd just like to share with you a story that's just unfolding. A man has gone on the social media platform TikTok and claimed that black South Africans were better off under apartheid, and that under successive ANC governments, black South Africans' lives have got worse and worse. And just listen to this.
We can speak freely under democracy, the Free Speech Act, about black people's rule in South Africa and what black people have accomplished and what black people solely are responsible for in South Africa. The ANC black government is solely responsible for the highest unemployment rate in the world. The black ANC government is solely responsible for the highest HIV and rape rate in the world. Women of all colors are unsafe in South Africa due to the highest crime rate in the world. Also, all state-owned enterprises are bankrupted due to corruption by black people only in government positions. Also, all municipalities failed due to providing any basic services in South Africa. Hardly any electric, hardly any clean water coming through the taps, load shedding, and so forth. Hardly any roads to drive on. So to speak about black people, we have way much more to say than apartheid of white people in South Africa. Because black people have ruled South Africa now for 30 years. And apartheid was created by white people, and the economy was way better off than it is now currently in South Africa.
So that's the man speaking, and I could not ascertain his name. I don't know who he is. Just loaded up the video clip on the social media TikTok, and of course this raises the question: who is actually in a position to speak on behalf of black South Africans? This man, as we can see from the video clip on there that's just gone by, he is part of the privileged white minority. The people, him and the generations before him, they were beneficiaries of the system of apartheid. And at this point in time, yes, we would agree there are a few problems here and there with the South African economy, things like unemployment, things like shortage of hospital beds, but those are part of problems that come with governing a country. There is nowhere in the world where there is full employment, and to suggest that for black South Africans, life for them under apartheid was better than a state where they are now free people, where they can decide for themselves a life for themselves. That's just cruel. That's just not acceptable. And if we accept that apartheid itself was a crime against humanity, then there is no state that you can actually compare with apartheid. There is nothing that can be worse than that, and it boggles the mind, and just get a feel of like what life was under apartheid.
Feeling get to the flatbed vehicle with boxes on the back, and I filmed the truck as it went down the road away from me towards the group of kids on the corner.
Then the truck turned around and came back.
As it approached the kids, 3 or 4 stones hit the windscreen.
And as they did so, there were several policemen in the back of the truck, hiding in boxes, and they popped up.
One stunned youngster froze and watched the horror unfold. Back in 1985, we had no idea that the police had labeled their operation Ghost Vehicle. When I wrote the story that day, I called it a deadly Trojan horse. 3 kids were killed, the youngest was 11 years old, and 12 were injured, among them 2 children who were hit in their own homes.
The strange thing was, at the time, we didn't even realize the importance of what we had just photographed.
And neither did the police. When they finally forced the camera crews to leave the area, they failed to confiscate the videotapes, and the damage was done.
Of course, it was one of those very ugly events that did us a lot of harm.
At the time, Roloff Pikbuta was the South African foreign minister.
It was extremely harmful from us in foreign affairs because that increased the negative reaction overseas and affected and expanding economic sanctions against South Africa.
Worldwide condemnation of South Africa was almost immediate, and so was the white government's reaction. Within days of the shooting, the state of emergency was expanded. Journalists were prohibited from filming any incident of police violence under the threat of 10 years of imprisonment.
What was new about this event was that there was a camera there. These events, these killings, this police brutality, this happened all the time in South Africa.
Thornton Road today is a far cry from what it was like 28 years ago, except for a steel memorial, a grim reminder of the day 3 young South Africans.
Yeah, so that was life under apartheid. Any day of the week, on any chosen day, a black person could be killed on the open streets, and no one would be held accountable. And as you can see from the video clip on there, it was actually the police, and the police were used not to protect ordinary civilians, ordinary citizens, as you would expect in an ordinary country, but they were used actually to terrorize black South Africans, to kill them. And a black child would not live up to their 18th birthday. Either disease would kill them, or the bullet from a policeman or a soldier would kill them. And so that was life under apartheid. And no state in human existence could be compared to apartheid. It was the worst that can be visited on any people you can imagine on the face of the earth. And to compare that with ordinary day-to-day things like shortage of jobs, lack of services, that just minimizes the experience of black people. And then the UN itself has categorized apartheid a crime against humanity. But then you see the irony is that apartheid, yes, we agree it was all a crime. It was a crime against humanity, but no one has ever been held to account. One of the presidents, P.W. Botha, actually refused to apologize, and apartheid was a crime with no perpetrators. No one has actually been held to account. And even maybe F.W. de Klerk did apologize, but Botha even refused to apologize, even as minimal as in a thing like an apology. He could not even bother to just give something as simple as an apology. And let me show you something here, and it's just if you have said that we agreed that apartheid was a crime against humanity, at least the black South Africans, they deserved some form of reparations, and it's part of healing, part of getting to grips with the past, and it's to reestablish, say here, it says restitution and repatriation. Those are some of the mechanisms the UN actually suggests that it should have, actually black South Africans should have been compensated with. And things like compensation for the loss of lands, loss of freedoms, the damage. The thing is, like with a crime like apartheid, it did not actually stop with the attainment of majority rule in 1994. the effects are intergenerational. They are carried on through generations. What we are seeing right now is the product of years and years of abuse, years and years of oppression, and that's where we are. And whites did not only prosper under apartheid. Even right now, they are consolidating on their gains. You have towns like Orania, a whites-only town in independent South Africa, and the whites are actually consolidating on the gains they had under apartheid. And you can imagine yourself. And the man we have just seen in the at the beginning of this recording, that the reason why white South Africans would actually be brazen enough to come out into the open and say blacks are now worse off under the ANC black government, it's simply because they have not been held to account. No one has actually been forced to at least to repent for the sins of apartheid. And the whites get to keep all the loot, the privileges, what they gained under apartheid. And you can see for yourself, like here, if you've got like these guys living in slums, white, it's the what actually under any circumstances you would get that people, if given competition for jobs, competition for everything is actually done on merit, that's what happens. And thus you would get the backlash from like our nameless man on the beginning of this recording, actually stating that blacks are worse off, because this is what they're afraid of, being put on the same pedestal with blacks. And that's what life is like. That's competition for you. And then you have got blacks under the ANC government. They are actually doing better. There is a black middle class. People can go to black people can go to university. They can enter professions like law, medicine, and that's what freedom is all about. That's what freedom is all about. And to suggest that a situation where you can actually do whatever you want with your freedom, you can study, be whoever you want, is comparable to life under apartheid. That's just minimizing. That's just misrepresenting the experiences of black people, and it's just not on. It's just not acceptable at all. And yes, so thank you so much for taking time to listen to this recording. If you are interested in material of this kind, please subscribe. Thank you. Bye.